Ron, and I'll make it mine pretty quick. Mine's going to only be 5 to 10 minutes or so. And Ron kind of alluded. Ron, did you know it was 2007 when Ironport and you and I worked together? Actually, 2005 because it was 2 years there. And since then, Ron alluded to I've been to a few other companies, including Palo Alto Networks, Tanium, and most recently Sentinel One. And the reason why I choose these companies is because of innovative next gen technology that is best of breed. Ironport had the reputation filtering, and Arm Cyber brings to the market a next gen anti ransomware solution. And really, we work well with Nasuni. Great job, Jim and Chris, and Sarah at Trellix, because we are a layer of defense to provide a ransomware resiliency solution. So when we talk about ransomware and resilience, I know everyone here knows what ransomware is and how it comes in many flavors and sizes. There's new ones being built every day. It's a full-blown business of bad guys creating ransomware. There's focused ransomware groups such as Lockbit, Medusa, Residia, and Big Game Hunting, which is actually a ransomware as a service solution, which develops fully custom ransomware builds designed to bypass specific environments. So someone will come to them and say, hey, I want to get into ABC company. This service will go out there, find out what EDR they're using, find out all sorts of other information, and build a custom ransomware to get through by either bypassing, disabling, or using a ransomware that will trigger and execute on their network. So the definition of ransomware here says that ransomware is software designed to block access to a computer system until a sum of money is paid. And that's usually done by encrypting or exfiltrating data and requiring some sort of non-traceable payment like Bitcoin. And then they'll give you the decryption keys back. And even if they do, which there's no guarantee, it's a lot of work to take those to each machine to get them back up and running. So ransomware, it affects all verticals and all businesses. Everybody on this call today should be concerned about ransomware, but they typically have a focus on some of the higher value targets like healthcare, finance, gov ed, because of the deep pockets and the critical information. Their goal, of course, is to infiltrate your network, encrypt and exfiltrate sensitive data, steal your credentials, and then disrupt your business, demanding large ransoms. It can literally and has many times bankrupted and killed a company. What do you do if you lose all your data? So now let's talk about resiliency. Resilience is the capacity to withstand or to recover from difficulties or attacks. So a ransomware resiliency plan is what I want to talk about today, how your organization can withstand and recover from ransomware attacks, even with your EDR and backup solutions in place. So, first, I'd venture to say that everybody here on this call has some sort of AV and or EDR solution like CrowdStrike, Trellix, Sentinel One, Defender, as well as some backup solutions like Veeam and Rubrik and others. But you have to have a plan if ransomware gets past your EDR and or corrupts your backups. This is what I mean by a ransomware resiliency plan. So what I want to do on the next few slides is double click on building a ransomware resiliency plan. So let's first of all talk about what a typical ransomware attack looks like and why it's important to have that resiliency plan. Okay, so here are some common warning signs of a ransomware attack. It can enter your network in so many different ways with thousands of different ransomware variations in the wild. And there's new ones coming out every single day. And it can get access to your machines in many ways and then spreads throughout your network, infecting as many machines as they can. Sometimes they'll lay in wait for days, weeks, or even years to gather as much information as they can, to cause as much pain as they can, and thereby inflicting as much ransom as they can get. So from a phishing attempt to a vulnerability in an operating system and applications to an infected thumb drive or illegitimate download from an uneducated user, once the ransomware enters one machine, it gets to work. It targets the data, finds the user credentials, personal identifiable information, EDR, and other intellectual data. And your business can't run without this data. So it's critical to protect it from being encrypted, exfiltrated, or being held for ransom. And all AVs and EDRs can stop a lot of ransomware. I'm not suggesting we're going to replace any of your EDR solutions. We're going to augment them and make them better and stronger. And I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. But a defense in-depth layered approach is necessary for your resiliency plan because, again, nothing is 100% and things will get through. In fact, every ransom attack we read about, that organization I'm 99% sure had some sort of AV and or EDR solution in place, but it still got through. Why are we reading about this in the news every single day? It seems like this is why a resiliency plan is needed. So if you take a look at the next slide, thousands of organizations were breached in 2024 by not having a sound resiliency plan. You can see some notable attacks across all types of verticals and the associated costs related to not having a good resilient approach, as all of these organizations had EDRs, they had backup solutions, yet the ransomware still got through and caused all of this damage. In fact, it's kind of funny, maybe not funny, but where is it? So I've got this, notice, I guess you can't really see it. It's from Change Healthcare. They actually affected, what was it? 190 people were affected by that ransomware breach. MGM Grand.
Hey, Tom, it was 190 million.
Yeah. What did I say?
Just 190.
Oh, 190 million. Yeah, I'm not that special to be one of 190, but 190 million. Thanks, Ron. And a $3.6 billion cost. Now, you'll typically see that the ransomware payment is only a touch of the total cost of recovery, which is the case for Change Healthcare. MGM Grand, $30 million ransom payment and $100 million cost to recover. By the way, they also, they said, we're going to invest $50 million in our security and user training and different applications. So, and we are talking to them actually as well. So having a resiliency plan is important. You don't want to be paying billions or millions of dollars and jeopardizing your company. Some statistics up here also, 2/3 of all companies have been hit by ransomware in 2024. 95% of these had their backups targeted also. So ransomware is smart. They know that if you can recover from backup, you're not going to pay the ransom. They'll be inconvenienced, but they're going to, first of all, before they encrypt your data, go out there and try to corrupt and infiltrate and encrypt and delete your backup data. Another interesting fact, over half of the people that were ransomware actually paid the ransom. So some crazy numbers that are out there, and obviously shows the need for a ransomware resiliency plan. Most organizations don't have one. So if you don't have one, don't worry about it. Most people don't. That's what we're here to talk about. Instead, they're relying on their EDRs and backups to protect and recover from the ransomware. But again, these are not fail-safe. What will you do when they fail? A defense in-depth layered approach is needed. So let me ask each of you guys to think about this. How will your organization withstand or recover from the following, as listed up here? Your EDR, Sentinel-1, Defender, CrowdStrike, whatever. If it's bypassed, meaning it was disabled temporarily and got through, it's disabled, which means it actually was uninstalled, or misses the attack, which is typically the case, because nothing is 100%. And the ransomware actually executes and encrypts your local data. What's your resiliency plan when the ransomware gets through? The typical response is, well, I have backups. I should be okay, right? As I said before, 95% of all ransomware attacks also go after the backups. Now, backups, if configured properly, can help safeguard against them penetrating, but it just takes one to get through and can really corrupt the whole batch. And even if it does work, even if your backups do work, how long will it take to restore that one machine? Okay, well, guess what? Ransomware just went across dozens of machines, hundreds of machines, thousands of machines in large organizations. How long will it take to restore thousands of machines on your network? So, and on top of that, how old is the data? So a lot of times machines are off the network and they don't have a current backup. So how current will that data be? Again, so what about your data as well that's stored, and it's exfiltrated and sent to the bad guys? Now you're being held for ransom against that. It could be a lot of very secret information, intellectual property. More and more, the bad guys will both encrypt the data on the machine and send it back to their headquarters to be able to extort you with. So let's talk about if you're hit. What will the costs actually be? Oops, actually, I meant to go down a little bit. So again, talking about those numbers, 4.4 million is the average ransom demand payout. 9.8 million is the average cost to recover, more than double the actual payout. So that's what, $15 million total? That's the average. But more importantly, what about your reputation and the ongoing business costs? And there's no guarantee that they're going to give you the key to actually do the decryption. By the way, we call ourselves next gen technology because there are some solutions out there that use encryption key harvesting. What that means is when ransomware executes and it encrypts, it uses a common algorithm called symmetric key encryption. It creates a random key and encrypts with that key and then sends it back to the corporate, to the headquarters to be ransomed. Well, you can do some API calls. Some of the tools out there, there's an open source that's actually out there since 2017, which will actually look for those API calls and be able to intercept that symmetric key and harvest it. So therefore, if the ransom guys come back and say, hey, you better pay me millions and I'll give you the key back, they already have it. Well, guess what? That worked great in the early days, but the bad guys are smart enough now to say, hey, you know what? If we don't use AES or triple DES or common encryption algorithms, they can't do that API call to get that key. So it'll work we found about 20 to 25% of the time. So encryption key harvesting, we actually used to support. We actually give it away for free. So if you want that technology, go to my website, armcyber.com, download it for free. It's called our community edition, or you can go to one of my competitors and actually pay for it. But again, it's not really an elegant solution. We'll talk about how we do that and how our solution is actually a next gen resiliency solution. So what I want to do is, like Ron said before, every security solution has got 3 letters, an acronym. Ours is actually 3 letters, which is 3 words, P, B, and R. First, preempt. Our solution will provide a layer of defense to block ransomware, targeted ransomware. So we still want your EDRs and AV solutions that do DAT files. We're not doing signatures. And the EDRs do AI and ML. We're not doing that. We're a very, very lightweight solution, but we're focused on specific things that ransomware does. So we're adding additional protection layers to prevent ransomware from even starting. We also harden your EDR solution, your AV solution, because we can do PowerShell script monitoring. We can do other Windows service protections to help ensure that your EDR is not bypassed, not disabled. And if we don't catch it, they don't catch it. We'll talk about that in a second. But we also provide a really cool technology. Our stealth directory is the ability to prevent data from being exfiltrated. Think about this. We've created a file driver which creates a directory on the local hard drive, and you can store your database files, store your application files, solutions that will point to a directory to access the data back and forth. You're not going to be able to see it anywhere. You can't go to a command prompt and do dir, and there it is. You can't see it by file open in Windows. It's hidden. We've written a file driver to hide that directory. Now, if you know the name of the directory, you could do a CD space. This is my shadow directory, and the data will be in there. But it's totally obfuscated from the bad guys. So store your database files, store your intellectual property that's in these protected directories, these shadow directories. And the bad guys, even if they encrypt your whole machine, it won't encrypt that directory, and that data will be live. So the next step, blocking. So P, B, and R, preempt, block, and R is going to be remediate. We have some really cool technology to block the ransomware if it executes. So maybe you got through your EDR and AV, maybe you got through us, and it's starting to execute. We have decoy files. There are decoy solutions out there. We include that as part of our solution. So what that is basically temporary files that only we know about, that nobody should access. And if they are accessed or encrypted, we know something sinister is taking place, and we can block that application, that process from running and prevent it from occurring again. We also have file entropy analysis. What this is the ability to monitor files as they're being changed or extensions being changed. And a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet, it looks a certain way inside. And as that commonality changes and it looks like it's being obfuscated or encrypted, we can stop it and then prevent that application process from running, and you're protected at that point. But what about those few files that just got encrypted? How do you restore those? Or what about user files? Maybe we didn't even block it or prevent it, nor did the EDR, and it actually did encrypt your user files on the machine. Well, that same stealth directory technology I talked about to store data in, we're actually doing shadow copies. So on a regular basis, or when files change, you can define the file types or file directories, and then what we're doing is compressing and copying those files as a shadow copy over into that hidden directory, so that even if your user files get encrypted or whatever files you have on that machine, via a single button on the admin console. You click it, it restores from that obfuscated directory that nobody can see, and you're back up and running in seconds, not minutes, hours, days, weeks, seconds. So it's very simple to use. It provides a great way to prevent, block, and remediate from ransomware. This is a ransomware resiliency solution. So what does it look like? It is a small client. It's 12 megabytes, very small. Again, we're focused on ransomware only. We're not building in AI and ML. We're not doing DAT files and things that's going to require lots of CPU overhead. We're very lightweight, less than 1% CPU, less than 2% memory. We're also very mature. Many of you may not have heard about us because we were actually incubated within the NSA. And we came out about a year ago and been selling. And it's a very mature product because it's being developed over the past 4 years. In fact, it's a multi-tenant capable. We've got a number of MSSPs that run us and put us in their stack. We've got lots of customers that maybe have multi-organizational units or OU units that they want to have role-based access controlled only to that tenancy. So it's a very mature product. Anyway, these are the technical details of the actual agent. So kind of in summary, what I'd like to do is talk about a sound ransomware resiliency plan requires a defense in depth, layered security solution that delivers the capacity to withstand and recover from attacks. When your EDR or backups are compromised, what are you going to do? Arm Cyber is that resiliency plan. By layering in Arm Cyber, we augment and make your EDR and backups resilient. We make them keep running. We make them fail safe or backstop them from, if they do get through, we will got your back. We'll keep them alive, making them better than they were if the ransomware gets through. So we add that layer of defense to prevent, block, and if needed, remediate from ransomware attacks. We are that resiliency capacity to withstand and recover from ransomware attacks. So in summary, by adding an Arm Cyber to your technology stack, you are implementing a sound ransomware resiliency plan. Our vision statement, we plan to be the largest anti-ransomware platform in the market within the next 5 years. By the way, we've been invited to the Microsoft Pegasus program. So I'm happy to talk about that when Microsoft comes up after me. But if you see me selling Microsoft solutions, I've got an identical twin brother who's been doing this for as long as I have. And he's been with Microsoft for 30 years now. So it's not me. Don't tell my boss. In summary, the last slide I have is we'd love to talk to you more. In order to become the largest ransomware resiliency solution out there, we would love to schedule a demo with you, give you a technical deep dive, set up a free POC. It takes about 20 minutes to get set up, and away we go. So I want to say thank you, Ron. It's great to work with you as always, and to present to everybody today. I would love to hear from you and set up a POC, talk more. Thank you.